Hello and welcome to Desert Rat Fiber Arts. I'm Desert Rat, but you can call me Lloyd. Okay, as it says in the title card, I'm going to be attempting to rescue an abandoned crazy quilt top that I found at a retreat I went to in September. So the retreats I went to, they have like an area where people can bring in stuff that they don't want anymore, fabrics, patterns, things like that, and it's free. Anybody can take it. And I found this quilt top up there, and I decided I would take it and see what there was with it. Now, it is not the prettiest thing in the world. I don't I probably wouldn't consider it vintage, even though the fabrics in there look like they're from the 1960s. I don't know how old this quilt top is, but I'm going to share it with you. I want to get your opinions on it, and then I'm going to go over my plan for what I would like to do with this thing. Now, I can't show you the entire thing, but here's kind of what some of this looks like. This is a crazy quilt where essentially you just take whatever fabrics you have and you combine it together, and yeah, that becomes your quilt top. And this thing is sewn in so many different ways. So you've got your traditional piecing here, and then this looks like it's top stitched. So they did like an applique type of thing on it. Over here it looks like part of a Dresden. Then over here it's more, okay, so we got lots of stripes in here that were just kind of thrown together. This was some hideous fabric that looks like, yeah, definitely came from the 1960s. Yeah, so lots of interesting colors, and you could probably see why someone would give this away. So anyways, my original thought was I would take it and I would use this to practice on my long arm. There are some holes in the fabric I was going to go through, and I was going to patch the holes, and then and just throw it on the long arm and practice, maybe doing a meander or whatever on it, and it would still make a nice quilt for someone. It's not the prettiest thing in the world, but it's good for practice. Now, the problem came when I started to iron it. And I was noticing things like none of these blocks are square. It's kind of hard to see here. Let me flip it over here. You can see that somebody really didn't care when they were doing their edges on this. Their sashing, you can see that's definitely not square. I don't even know if the blocks are the same size. So look at this. It's even puckered. There was one piece I saw that was like sewn in the middle. Well, here's a good example. See how the fabric's puckered? They didn't flatten it out. They didn't starch it or anything. They just kind of sewn it in place as it was. So it just, I think it would cause nothing but grief to put it on the long arm the way it is, and try to, finish up whatever this person's original vision was for this quilt. Now, with that in mind, yeah, see, look at that. The seam is split there. They probably had less than that's not even a 1/4 inch seam on the inside there. That's maybe an 1/8. And then if you look at the inside, look at this rat's nest of where the fabric is raveling on the inside. So, would this be a good practice quilt? I don't know. If you want to practice, see what a headache quilt would be, it'd probably be pretty good for that. But my thoughts on this, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it as well. I'm still probably going to do it anyways, is I want to take it apart. I want to remove all this sashing, this hideous brown and yellow sashing that's on here. I want to patch the blocks that are existing, cut off the rat's nest of in the back, starch the fabric, and square it up. I want to fix the holes like this and whatnot. I want to square up all the blocks and then get some new fabric for sashing and cornerstones, and then completely redo the quilt top itself and try to make it more of what I imagine the original person that did this, what their original idea was versus what they ended up with. Now, I try not to complain about other people's work, try not to pick out flaws, but this was abandoned. It was thrown on the table. It was discarded. I don't know if it was inherited by somebody and they didn't know what the heck to do with it, so they just got rid of it, or what. So it's not something I would consider vintage. I did not purchase this like at not at a thrift store, but at an antique shop, or purchase it as a vintage quilt top off of eBay or anything like that. This was discarded in a free table at a quilting retreat. So I feel that I am free to do with it whatever I want to, because the original person is either no longer with us or they just didn't care about it anymore and wanted to get rid of it. So that's my idea. First thing I want to do, though, is I'm thinking about just going ahead and putting it through the serger and serging the edges of this. And I'm going to fill a big plastic tub with some cold water. And I got this stuff here called Retro Clean. And it's supposedly remove age stains from textiles. And I saw somebody online that had used this stuff, and they said it works really good. So you just soak it in there. You don't agitate. Push it down in the water, and that's about it. And then you're supposed to just kind of squeeze it out and lay it out to dry. I don't really have a place to lay it out to dry. Maybe I can lay it out somewhere in the garage. Otherwise, it might wind up in the clothes dryer on really low, just to kind of get it to dry. It's not really something I'd like to do, just because of all the rat's nest again on that. I don't want to make it any worse. Then I'll take off the bindings, or not the bindings, the sashing and the cornerstones to get to the pure blocks here, and start repairing those blocks, square them all down to an even size, and then decide what I want to do for sashing and cornerstones and borders, if I'm going to do borders on it, and try to refurbish the quilt as it may be. So tell me your thoughts. What do you think of this monstrosity here? What would you do with it? I mean, yeah, you could use it as a dog bed or whatever, but what would you do with it? How would you go about it? Would you leave it the way it is to honor the person that originally made it, and just try to finish it up, maybe do tie quilting or whatever it is with it, instead of trying to long arm it or whatever? Or would you take it apart and try to make something new out of something that was discarded? Let me know in your thoughts in the comments below. I'm going to try to make a series out of this to show you as I go along what I've done, and get your thoughts along the way. So until next time, this is Desert Rat. Happy crafting.